Hi, welcome to McDonald News, reporting live from McDonald Library. This is Veronica Saldanha, and today we're going to talk about the apartheid and how they healed after that. First, we're going to go to Betsy Saldanha, reporting from the Loomis backyard. Apartheid is a system of racial segregation that is enforced through legislation in South Africa. Apartheid means separation. This really translates to the South African government because they set up laws to make sure that there's no races that are mingling with each other. Before all this, the Dutch controlled South Africa. But later on in 1806, the British gained control. There are a few laws put together, including the Mines and Works Act in 1911, Natives Land Act in 1913, and Native Representation Act in 1936. These laws caused the country to be segregated. Due to the segregation, it was hard for the country to adapt back to the New World. And there were a few resistance groups like the ANC, which is the African National Congress, consisting mainly of the African elite. The APO, which is the African People's Organization. They fought for the rights of colored people and also consisted largely of the colored elite. The AAC, which is the All-African Convention, protested against the Native Bill Act. The ICU, the Industrial and Commons Trade Union. And these resistance groups are the ones that fought for freedom, especially the ANC, which later on formed a youth league and helped through everything. So they were the ones who fought for freedom and fought for their rights. And we are now acknowledged. Next, we're going to talk about what they did after the apartheid. It started with apologies from leaders who were responsible for the apartheid. And then later on, Nelson Mandela was released from prison in February 1990. He worked with President F.W. Clark's government to make a new constitution, and soon, in 1994, Nelson Mandela became South Africa's president, and now it's a public holiday. Mandela's vision of South Africa was to be united, non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, and prosperous society. They healed by providing better things for the citizens, like better housing, and made better facilities as like education, and things like that. Even though South Africa have a lot of job inequalities, the most recent quarterly labor force survey reported an unemployment rate of 24.1%. But by creating space to have better education, the unemployment rate would decrease. And in other areas, it's finally getting safer to walk outside without being worried of the crime rates, and also the murder rate is also going down, and because of that, the crime rates are getting lower. Even though it's still a little bit segregated, people still live in different neighborhoods that they were put in when it was still apartheid. Now we're gonna hear from a person. She lived in apartheid, and her name is Amalia Smith, and she's gonna tell us her side of the story.
We have been through a lot here in South Africa. The acts of violence and the suffering did not do any good. Yes, I agree with the laws that were segregating us as the people of South Africa because I was told all my life that we are not the same as other races. Ours is God-given. But we, as South Africans, have witnessed F.W. de Klerk calling the apartheid policies he once served deeply mistaken and apologizing for the pain they caused. It was hard to hear what you have been through all your lives. Some of us don't agree with it, but some of us do, and it's kind of sad. We also witnessed Deputy President Thabo Mbeki apologize for the African National Congress's far more limited crimes, including the execution of 34 men in ANC training camps. Because of that, we as white citizens are also apologizing. We finally realized that what has happened is wrong. Even though there are a lot of things that haven't changed, like the inequality of for blacks and whites in the work area, and many neighborhoods still haven't changed from segregation, it's getting better.
That was a very powerful story. But now we're gonna go ahead and move on to Karabo Mandela, and he's gonna tell his story from his point of view.
We definitely have been through a lot. We fought for our rights, and now we got them. It's now less dangerous to walk around. We were told we're not the same as the other races. We as colored people have to stay away from places that were for the whites. We had to use different facilities from the whites. We had to be away from them. They earn more than us even though we are the same. We have the same skills. Everything has become better since. My house finally has electricity. It was tough to see some family live in little sheds because there were no proper housing. Some of us still don't have a job because of the rate of our unemployment is still pretty high. The whites still earn more than us, which makes it hard to believe that we can survive in the world. We're still staying in segregated areas, but there's more freedom. It doesn't feel like it's forced upon us to be segregated, even though there's a lot that has changed. It still hasn't had a big impact on our end.
Now, that all has happened. We've heard perspectives from different sides of citizens that witnessed apartheid. Now we're gonna move on to a law that was placed a few days ago. That's it for now, and tune in next week for another episode of the news.